דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. מי זאת עולה מן המדבר, מן המדבר, מקטרת מור ולבונה, ולבונה. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים.
אורי צפון ובואי תימן, ליבבתיני אחותי כלה, ליבבתיני אחותי כלה.
דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים.
My beloved is mine, and I am my beloved's, who browses among the lilies. Who is this that comes up from the desert in clouds of myrrh and frankincense? You have captured my heart, my sister, my bride. Awake, O north wind. Come, O south wind. So that's a beautiful love poem that metaphorically we extend to Shabbat as the sort of symbol of God's love to the Jewish people. I want to invite Lila up to usher in the Sabbath formally by lighting 2 Sabbath candles. Shabbat Shalom, Tony and Esther and Sandra, good to see you. And Kenneth. Do you want me to take your book? Are you? Okay. Hang on, Lila. Yeah, we got it. Baruch atah Adonai, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav. V'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shabbat Shalom.
So, again, welcome to everybody who's joined us. And I want to introduce, for those of you who don't know, my great friend and colleague and teacher, Cantor Judy Sofer, who's with us tonight. And not only is she a great chazan and a wonderful musician and choral director, but she grew up here at good old Temple Beth Tikvah in Fullerton.
Yes,
So,
with Miriam and with Lila.
so it's nice to have you back. And we're going to continue. We're going to begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service on page 130 with Psalm 95, Lechuna Ranana.
Lechuna
Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Litzu Yishenu, Nekad Mafana Bitoda. Naria, Naria, Litzu Yishenu, Bismiro Naria Lo. Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Please join me at the bottom of page 130 in English. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. And we continue with Psalm 96, Shirul Adonai, page 131.
Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash.
Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Shiru Chadash. Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo. Masromi Yom Liyom Yeshuato. Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo. Masromi Yom Liyom Yeshuato. Shirul Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash. Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash. Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo. Basrumi Yom Leyom Yeshuato. Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo. Basrumi Yom Leyom Yeshuato. And please join me 6 lines from the bottom. Yismechu Hashamayim.
Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim.
Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, oh, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umalo.
Yeram hayam,
Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umalo. Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umalo.
Yismechu Hashamayim.
Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim. Hashamayim, Yismechu
Hashamayim.
V'tagel haaretz. That was so fun. Thank you. Page 132 at the bottom. First of all, I just want to say, so we are on page 132. This is something we did last week, trying to reinforce this. So this is Or Zaru Alat Sadiq, and your job is to sing Yum Biddy Bum a lot. And I'll get you started, and then I sing the descant. You can join me on the descant. Okay, here we go. Yum bitty bummy, 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 yum bitty bum, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bum. Keep going. Or zaru alat sadik uli Yisrael simcha. Or zaru alat sadik uli Yisrael simcha. Yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bummy, yum bitty bum, yum bitty bum. Or zaru alat sadik Yisrael simcha. Or zaru alat sadik Yisrael simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. We're going to continue with Psalm 29 on page 136. I think we did this last week also.
Okay, we're doing that one we said.
Yes.
Okay. No.
No. Die, die, die.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
David, Havul Adonai v'nelim, Havul Adonai, Kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai, Kevod Shemo, Hishtachavul Adonai, V'hadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim Kol Adonai ba'koach Kol Adonai behadar Kol Adonai shover arazim V'shaber Adonai et arzei havanon V'yarkidem kimo egel Levanon V'siryon Kimo ve'en re'emim Ay Kol Adonai Chotzev lavodesh Kol Adonai Yachil midbar Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh Kol Adonai Yecholel ayalot Vayecheso Ye'arot Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Ay Adonai Lama Bo Yashav Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein Adonai Yavarech Et Amo Vashalom Yai da 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 Yai da 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 Yai da da Yai da 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 Yai da da Yai da 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 da. We are at Lecha Dodi. I invite you to turn to page 138. We're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, 6, and 9. And
1 second, I got to ask. This is just a last minute thing, so we had dinner together. So we'll start here.
Yes.
1,
Yeah.
2, 5.
Yeah, 6. That's
Okay.
what that's okay.
Okay. This is a song, a melody I learned here way back. I was the organist here many years ago. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha
dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha Ki hi mekor habaracha Merosh mikedem nisucha Sof maaseh b'machshavat chila Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri Kiva orech umiori Uri shir daveri Kivod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. 139 verse 6. Lo te voshi velo tikalmi Matish tochachi umatehemi Bach yechesu aniyei ami V'nivneta ir al tila Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ma'ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha uve'tzola Tochem unei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. And we'll conclude. Oh, before I do that, because we just finished Lecha dodi, Neil is with us. Neil Weiderman is with us, and he is in his week of Shiva for his brother Stanley. And it's customary after Lecha dodi to recite the words of comfort to our mourners who would have entered just now. And we will say, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avelei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you, Neil, and your family, and your brother David, together with all those who mourn within the gates of Zion and Jerusalem. And may all the things you've done this week elevate Stanley's neshama to a beautiful place. And we're going to continue on page 140.
Sorry.
Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodod laDonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulehagid baboker chastecha, vemunatcha baleilot. Alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodod laDonai, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki simachtani Adonai b'fo'olecha, b'ma'aseh yadecha aranein. Magadlu ma'asecha Adonai, me'oram ku machshevotecha. Mizmor shir liyom ha'shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Please sing this with me. Tzadikata amar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun b'seva deshenim vera'ananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri tzuri velo avlatabo. And we read together Psalm 93, the conclusion of Kabbalat Shabbat in English at the bottom of page 141. Please join me. Adonai is sovereign. God is robed in grandeur. Adonai is robed. God is girded with strength. The world stands firm. It cannot be shaken. Your throne stands firm from of old. From eternity you have existed. The ocean sounds Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. Just feels like, there's a lot of references to water and thunder, and since we're in a really good water thing going on in California, it felt appropriate. We're going to continue with Mariv on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon v'yomechon U'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach La'alam la'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma Bimaru, amen. I invite you to rise for the Baruchu on page 146. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Vaed. You may be seated. We're on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro mariv aravim, b'chochma potech she'arim, uvitvuna mishnah itim, umachlif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono. Umahavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hamariv aravim. Page 150.
Ahavat
Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachveinu uvekumenu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, Uvemitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu, V'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, Ki heim chayenu, V'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, Ki heim chayenu, V'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, Ki heim chayenu, V'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla. V'yahavatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Please turn to page 152. I invite you to take a deep breath and let it out as we say Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We're on page 154. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Emet. I want to invite us to read responsively on page 157, In a World. So I'm going to ask this part of the room to read the first paragraph. This part of the room will read the second paragraph beginning from bondage. And we will read the third paragraph, though our failings. Here we go. So you start. You lead these guys. In a world.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage, Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We continue with Mi Chamocha on page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, Bokeh Yam lifnei Moshe, Zeli anu, v'amru together, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'nemar, kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugelo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga Yisrael. So Hashkivenu, do you do the Talmud? Want to do that? Hashkivenu.
It's been a while, but
Okay.
yeah.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim, ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Skip to the bottom. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu, l'chaim l'shalom, me'ata v'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Page 162, Vishamru. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את
השבת,
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I invite you to rise for the Amidah, page 164. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. The silent Amidah begins on page 166. Feel free to use this opportunity for personal reflection to share whatever you need to, what needs to be said.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, le'akol Yisrael ve'imru Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'ibru amen. Hu yaseh shalom, shalom, yaseh shalom aleinu, amen, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, amen.
Thank you so much, Judy. So beautiful. At this time, we are going to make a Mishaberach Lecholim, a prayer for healing for all those who are ailing, both physically, spiritually, mentally, those who are struggling with addiction and just need our prayers. I'm going to name the people on the congregational list and add some of my own, and I'm going to go around the room and invite you to do the same. I want to invite our friends on Zoom to add the names of people you'd like to include, and those of you who are watching us virtually, please say the names aloud as well. Alan Boyarsky, Andrea Goldberg, Anita Muchnikoff, Barbara Rothbard, Barbara Bevins, Dale Scully, David Trackman, Ed Schechter, Elaine Solomon, Florence Nagler, Jerry Feldman, Jerry Harmon, Karen Guth, Marilyn Guastoff, Marlene Pfaff, Michael Hennig, Mike Kokos, Mindy Gladstein, Peter Guastoff, Rav Emmanuel Ben David, Shirley Hoffman, Shirley Zaidman, Zach Pesner, Evelyn Ma, Janet White, Rose Kaufman, Janet Capps, Sheldon Weisbach, Cynthia Cohen, Jonathan Cohen, Ron Sherman, Blossom Siegel. Are there other people?
Anita Muchnikoff, Roger Conant, Rosemary Conant, and Jerry Hopkins, and Steve Hoffman, Kara Hoffman, and Joe Carroll Hopkins, and Jackie Gallant.
Judy, anybody praying for her?
Yair Benad.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So, just a couple things. Two parts to my Divrei Torah tonight. And One involves a handout, one does not. Could. So hang on. Miriam, I'm going to ask you, if you would be so kind, as to, I only have 10, so make people sit together and make them suffer. Suffer sitting next to one another. So there's many things that you guys don't know about me, and this is my opportunity to tell you. This is more of a special interest thing. So I have some famous family members. Not so famous, but kind of in the Israel circle famous. And I don't know if you remember, but probably about 15 years ago, there was a Reform female rabbi that actually sued the government of Israel because the government of Israel actually subsidizes all synagogues in Israel as long as they're Orthodox. And so there was a lawsuit brought about by the Israel Religious Action Center. And my cousin was one of the first female Reform rabbis to be ordained in Israel at the HUC in Israel. Her name is Rabbi Mary Gold. And so our mothers were sisters. They're both deceased now. And so Mary is my beloved cousin. And so she's pretty well known, certainly in Reform Jewish circles for sure, and also in conservative and all pluralistic movements. And in fact, the case was won, but it wasn't the Rabbanut that was required to support these Reform congregations. It was actually the ministry, like the cultural ministry was going to be giving money to these smaller Reform congregations. Anyway, but that was a big step for Israel. I think everything's moving backwards now, separate conversation. But Mary will long be forgotten, but no, she won't. She's amazing. But she's retired. But so my cousin David, her husband, came to Kibbutz Gezer, where they moved in 1972 with a garin, with a group, and they were all baseball fans. And when David was in charge of Binyan, Kibbutz building, he and his friends were like, they were just missing baseball in the worst way, and there was no baseball in Israel. So he said, heck, I'm building the first baseball field in Israel. And he built it on Kibbutz Gezer, and basically all they did was play ball. They'd finish working in the fields. They finished working in the kitchen. They'd go play ball. And, that's how it was on Kibbutz Gezer, because of my cousin David, who married my cousin Marilyn, who started baseball in Israel. And he raised all of his kids playing ball, and all the kids on the kibbutz played ball. Well, my first cousin once removed alone. There's a wonderful, maybe you've seen it in JTA, but there's a new article that came out this week called Wild Pitch, How an Israeli Kibbutznik Became a Cincinnati Reds Pitching Coach. And what's significant about Alon is that he is the first Israeli to actually be hired to work in a major baseball league team. There's been so he was, prior to this, he was coaching the minor leagues for the Seattle Mariners. And this is a really great article talking about how he grew up playing. He himself was a fabulous pitcher, but he injured himself too many times, and he finally had to give up pitching, but he decided to reinvent himself and become like a fabulous pitching coach. So now he'll be I guess, coaching some of the best, pitchers in the league. And so I just wanted to share this wonderful article. I made copies for it. You can take one if you'd like. And this is my family. And I'm sure our mothers are very proud. But what does that have to do with Torah? Nothing. So let's talk about Torah a little bit today. So we are at the end of the book of Genesis, and it's Parashat Vayechi this week. And interesting, Vayechi means "and he lived." So it's sort of a stunning irony, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, that Vayechi is all about death. Jacob dies, Joseph dies, in the Haftorah, David dies, death, death, death. So one little sort of nuance to that is that embedded in everybody's life is death. Right? There's only one thing you know from the day you're born. You might not know how you're going to end up. Can you sing? Can you dance? Are you a good cook? Red hair, brown hair? You know one thing. You're going to die. You don't know when. but you know it's going to happen. Anyway, I wanted to invite you to turn to the back of the page 2. I want to share a wonderful little midrash that was new to me when I was studying with a group of people, but I want to say this is something I would never have thought about. I'll read the Hebrew, and then we'll look at the English. Ad Avraham, and this is from Masechet Sanhedrin, Daf 107b. Ad Avraham lo haya zakena. Kol dechazi la'Avraham amar, Haye Yitzchak. Kol dechazi Yitzchak amar, Haye Avraham. Ba'a Avraham rachme de lahave lev zikna, shene'emar v'Avraham zaken ba biyamin. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Apropos to the death of Elisha, the Gemara asks, until the time of Abraham, there was no aging. Think about it. You heard how long people lived, right? And how many sons and daughters they had and all those genealogies. Never said they got old. It just said they lived this many years. There was no aging in the Torah. The old and the young looked the same. So anyone who saw Abraham said, that's Isaac. And anyone who saw Isaac said, that's Abraham. Abraham didn't like that. I guess he didn't like his son. So Abraham prayed for mercy that he would undergo aging. As it is stated, quote, and Abraham was old, well stricken in age. Now, Lila, you actually missed that because you don't look old at all. So I'm feeling like you are in the old before Abraham group. There is no mention of aging before that birth. Now, here's another one that we never thought of. Until the time of Jacob, there was no weakness. There was no illness. You never heard that anyone got sick in the Torah until the time of Jacob, which is kind of not true because you knew that Isaac had bad eyes. His eyes were dimmed. Now, it doesn't say that he was weak and old. It just said his eyes were dimmed. I think that's kind of like getting weaker and older, but okay, let's follow whatever. Jacob prayed for mercy, and there was weakness, as it is stated. And one said to Joseph, behold, your father is ill. And that's the first time in this week's Parsha that we ever hear that somebody was sick. Fascinating, don't you think? Did you ever think about that? No, me either. Until the time of Elisha, there was no ill person who ever recovered, meaning if you got sick, you died. And Elisha came and prayed for mercy and recovered, as it is stated. And Elisha was fallen ill of his illness from which he was to die. And that was the first mention of a person who was ill who did not die from that illness. So I just wanted to share just a little bit of Torah. I think that's so interesting when we talk about the evolution of humanity and the genealogies in Genesis. These are the things we don't think about, but our rabbis for hundreds of years had nothing else to do but think about this kind of stuff. Any thoughts before we wrap up on baseball or illness? Did you say batter up? Okay. Anyway, I'll collect these, but I thought, but feel free to look them over. There's some great midrashim about this week's parsha, and I hope that you enjoy your Torah tomorrow in synagogue. I'm sure you will have a great time. And so now we are going to rise for the Aleinu. But I do have articles if you want to read about my cousin Alon. He's definitely a rock star. Okay, now oh, that's so nice. Okay, thank you, Neil. We are on page 586, the bottom paragraph. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu kemishbechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol havonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu 588, Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. We therefore hope in you, Adonai our God. May we soon behold the glory of your might, sweeping away the false gods of the earth, that idolatry may utterly be destroyed, perfecting the world under the rule of God, that all humanity invoke your name, turning all the wicked of the earth toward you. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. I feel a little guilty now because you may be seated, because I was talking about my cousin, not thinking, Sandra, you're on there. It's your cousin too. I know. Okay. All right. So we are going to remember those who we have loved and lost. So as I acknowledge, Neil is here remembering his brother Stanley Weiderman. Is it Shlomo? Shlomo. And is there anybody who is in their week of Shiva? Is there anybody with us who is in a period of Shaloshim, 30 days after the death of a loved one? If so, please write your name also in the if you're on Zoom, in the chat, and Aiden will share that with us. Is there anybody here in their first year of mourning for a loved one? Aiden, is there anybody in their first year of mourning?
Joan Friedman for first year mourning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Barry. And the Yort sites we are observing this week. I think these are last week's. Miriam? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry, Miriam. I just need to show this to you. Okay. Harriet Kirshen, Mayor Letterman, Cecilia Solomon, Robert Gorelick, Manuel Klasky, Natty Stern, Leona Hirschfield, Anna Markowitz, Isaac Shaw, Zelda Kennedy, Rose Landsman, Ezra Meltzer, Yetta Plotkin, Karen Youngerman, Betty Goldberg, Arthur Greenberg, Sergio Prum, Minnie Smith, Lisa Heller, Sadie Molaski, Sal Bressler, John Cooper, Tom Green, William Guth, and Sydney Nanas. Also, this past week was this looks like this is doing past Yortzeit, so it was my sister's Yortzeit this week, Minda Tilchin, and my friend Victor Lehman. They passed away on the same day. And also remembering Irv Weinstein. And those reciting the Kaddish, please join me on page 598. Yitgadal, v'yitkadash, shemei rabbah, v'alma divra kirute, v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon, uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv, v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach, la'alam ula'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Tehi zichram baruch, may their memories endure as a great blessing for those who knew and loved them. And I think it's time for announcements. So is that you, Mark, or is that you, Miriam, or is that you, Mitch?
Casino Royale night coming up on the 14th. Well, thank you. We have the Casino Royale fundraiser event coming up on the 14th, which is next week, and we're hoping it doesn't rain. And we have more tickets available for that. We also have adult education going on. We have people learning how to do trope. I don't know if Rabbi Daniel will be doing any kind of thing on Monday.
Yes, history resumes on Monday.
Okay, he's going to zoom in, and hopefully he's going to zoom in to read Torah tomorrow from Israel, wherever he is, because he's on trap. Okay, it's Daphne. And so I don't know what else we have, Miriam, going. We have the trail to chocolate, or whatever it is, on the 24th, is it? 21st,
Right.
Which is going to be after services. So we were invited. It's very interesting to learn about Jews and chocolate, because it seems to work.
And our choir is resuming tomorrow. We're going to have choir
Right.
rehearsal after shul, after lunch. And the first time they'll be singing is we have about 4 rehearsals before our first Shabbat morning service that we're singing here in February. It's really exciting. And this is open to, as we said, anybody who can sit for 2 hours and learn something can join this choir. It's going to be really fun. All ages welcome. And there are some other wonderful things coming. We don't need to pummel you with them now, but please, there's really some terrific programs that are being planned at Temple Beth Tikvah, and we want you to join us right here, because it's a great place to be. And with that, Judy, you get to pick your favorite closing song ever, and that's what you get to do. Let's do it. Let's do it here. I'm sorry, I forgot.
problem.
I forgot, Mark. No, I wasn't. I was so.
I'll take one.
Oh, you gave me a different one. Where did you put it, Miriam? Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay, we're making Kiddush together, everybody, and then we will sing Judy. This gives Judy a little time to think of her favorite closing song ever. And I just want to say thank you to the lovely and talented Judy Sofer for joining us tonight. You made it such a freilich service, such a beautiful thing. So thank you, Judy. Vayhi erev vayhi voker yom hashishi vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayevarech Elohim et Yom HaShvi, Vayekadesh Oto, Ki Vo Shabbat Mikol Melachto, Asher Bara Elohim Lasot. Savri, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Peri HaGafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'yahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. I just have one thing to say about all you coming to casino night. Watch out for my cousin Sandra, because she's a professional poker player. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say it, but I said it. Watch out. You are in trouble. Okay. Judy, how are you closing us out?
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'ol Kulam. Everybody, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'ol Kulam. Salam, salam, Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Salam, Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam.
What a great turnout tonight. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Beautiful to have you here. And we have a great oneg waiting for you in the other room.